United States Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen is in China with the hope of reviving relations with the second largest economy in the world. The trade war between China and the US has implicated the global economy. This is the second high-profile leader from the US to visit China in recent days after the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, recently held talks with China's President Xi Jinping. For more on this, we now speak to our correspondent, Andrew Wood, who is joining us from Hong Kong. Andrew, good morning, and thank you so much for making time for us. What's on the agenda?
Well, so far we're in day two of Janet Yellen's four-day visit. It's about 5:30 in the afternoon, so perhaps she's having tea at the moment, taking a break from talks. But we can say that at lunchtime in Beijing, she addressed the American Chamber of Commerce, and she said that so far by lunchtime, when she talked to Chinese officials and the Chinese government, she defended American business. She said that she criticised the way that China was making life difficult for foreign-linked businesses in China, and she defended the way that Americans wanted to do business as well. That American businesses have complained that some of the state-linked or state-owned companies get things like unfair subsidies, for example. So she's addressing the issues here of American business. There's a lot of other things for her to discuss, though. There's the trade war, as you were saying earlier, between America and China. That seems to have got worse. The latest tit-for-tat move this week was China saying it would restrict exports of gallium and germanium. They may not be metals that you've heard of, but they are very, very useful in the world of making chips or making solar panels or making LED screens.
Yeah. And considering also that that other spat, and this is now the one where Joe Biden called Xi Jinping a dictator, that caused some tension. Is the ground fertile to try and get these two countries closer to each other?
Well, an American official travelling with Janet Yellen said that played down the idea that there would be any breakthrough in the talks, but said given the enormous differences between America and China, they're such rivals now in so many ways, economically, philosophically, on the way that they think democracy should be implemented, and of course militarily. Given all of those differences that the rivals have, it's good to have them talking, even if not much happens as a result of this. I think perhaps, I don't want to put words in the mouth of the Chinese government, but I think perhaps they might have been prepared to take President Biden's insult, as they might be considered, to President Xi as being a bit of a gaffe. But it certainly didn't help relations.
Yeah. And then the big conversation, of course, there is the BRICS summit that is coming up, which will be held here in South Africa. We know that Xi Jinping has confirmed that he will be attending the BRICS summit. Then on top of that is the agenda at that summit around the de-dollarization of the trade between various countries. Is this something at all that we expect Yellen to raise during this visit?
We don't know at the moment, but she is Treasury Secretary. And so, her job is looking after things like the dollar. And de-dollarization is something that has become, very popular to talk about, ending America's hegemony as a result of the way that the dollar is used in so much of international trade. And to be fair, it's not as popular as it was even 10 years ago. But the BRICS summit, I think, has got a long way to go before it can come up with a real alternative. The Chinese yuan has been, China has been trying to promote the yuan as an alternative to the dollar with some success, but there are still problems that because the Chinese yuan is not properly convertible and it's not easily tradable as a result of that. As far as setting up a BRICS currency, well, nobody's seriously considers that the five countries would go down the euro route of having a single currency. But there is the possibility of setting up a BRICS currency that all of the countries in BRICS and new members that might be joining could do trade with each other instead of using the dollar. And that's a bit more serious threat to the dollar.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Andrew Wood there joining us from Hong Kong.